All right, I'm on the porch. I meant to do this video out in the landscape bed, but it came up a rainstorm, so I brought everything under the porch, and wouldn't you know it, as soon as I get everything set up, the rain stops. So we're here now, and we're going to continue on with this video. Only thing I'm missing right now under this porch is a nice glass of sweet tea. We love sweet tea in the South. So anyway, we're looking at Indian Hawthorns. I have Indian Hawthorn in my plant bed. One of the common problems that they have is something called leaf spot fungus. And it starts out with the leaves getting small black dots or purplish dots on the leaves. It eventually, you'll see the leaves begin to turn yellow or red, and then they'll fall off. Over time, the shrub will look like it just has leaves at the tips, and eventually it can completely defoliate where there's maybe 5% of the shrub has any leaves at all. It's just completely bare stems. By that point, the shrub is pretty much a goner and needs to be replaced. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about good replacements for Indian Hawthorns. And one particular shrub variety that's newer in the marketplace is a shrub called Distylium. And there are several hybrid varieties of Distylium on the market now. Distylium are actually in the Witch Hazel family, but they are very disease resistant, very pest resistant, can tolerate all types of soil conditions. They can even stand wet feet, and they're very drought tolerant also. But they're very interesting evergreen shrubs. They're going to be good replacements for boxwoods, hollies, especially Indian hawthorns and laurels and other shrubs that tend to get pests and disease. And these are going to be such a good carefree plant for you. And this one is actually one I'm going to be putting in the ground today, of two varieties I'm going to be putting in the ground. This one is a Coppertone by First Editions, and this one grows about 4 feet high by 4 to 5 feet wide. So it's got this really interesting texture, very interesting growth habit, and I'm looking forward to having these to replace my Indian Hawthorns. My dogs are trying to play here. So this variety by First Editions is Coppertone. Really deep, dark green leaves, foliage. This will, and you can't really see it right now because there's not any real new growth coming out, but new growth on this comes out almost a copper purplish color. Very hard to describe, but very, very pretty. So this is Cinnamon Girl, and this one I got off of the clearance rack as well. It's a little bit more sparse. I think it had gotten underwatered and dropped some foliage, but this will bounce back in no time once it's in the ground and established well. You can see it's happy still. I've been watering this. I've had it for a couple of weeks, and I've kept the water on it, and it's already starting to get some new foliage, and you can see what I mean by that copper foliage from the new growth. This is the Southern Living variety, Cast In Bronze Distylium, and some newer foliage. So you can get an idea of the contrast. Absolutely no pest, no disease. As you can see, branches kind of spiraling in opposite directions or in a counterclockwise motion. Distylium in the ground, and I've paired it with a few other things. Put some Autumn Joy sedum in the front of it. I've got a big space here that I'll be able to work with to allow me to plant some other things, some perennials and annuals. This Nandina was right here, and it's a bit stunted. This is I think it's a lemon lime Nandina by Southern Living. But I went ahead and moved that from here to here so that it could grow up and these could be more impactful growing together. And I think this light chartreuse green, lime green color will look really nice with that Distylium as it grows up with that dark blue-green foliage. And so I think that's going to be a nice touch with those shrubs together. And the Distylium is going to grow up about 4 or 5 feet tall here and about 5 feet wide. And I placed this about 2.5 feet on center from the Nandina, so that should give it plenty of space to grow out. And do the same on this side with a hydrangea. I've got some purple diamond loropetalum here with a limelight hydrangea, and my limelight's looking a little peaked. I think we're going to run it on drip next year so that in the heat of the summer it doesn't fry the blooms. Of course, you can see some really happy blooms here. When I planted this bed out, the hawthorn and the limelight hydrangea were about 3.5 to 4 feet apart. You can see back there where the center of the hydrangea is and where the hawthorn was growing inside. But basically the hydrangea just overcrowded the hawthorn, so I brought the Distylium, the Cinnamon Girl Distylium, out a little ways further to give it a little more room. And it's still got plenty of room to grow out from the sidewalk and still have some room to do other things here. And a few other things I've done, and I didn't get this on video, but this catmint was already in the ground. That's a Walker's Low catmint, but I have just added this Holmstrup arborvitae. And this is not a really wide space, but from the sidewalk to the corner is not that much room. This is supposed to grow about 3 feet wide by about 8 to 10 feet tall, so this is going to be a perfect arborvitae. And of course, if you're not familiar with arborvitaes, they're very soft evergreen trees. You can also get them in shrub form as well. Here I have a blue chip buddleia or butterfly bush, and I mounded this area up a little bit because it wasn't draining very well. I've also planted 2 lamb's ear to fill in this area, so this should actually grow in all the way into the curve. I'll be fine when that happens. Thanks for watching this video. If it was helpful to you, go ahead and subscribe and click the bell for notification. Thanks for watching.